Since Russia invaded Ukraine 3.5 years ago, over 150 factories and industrial facilities in different parts of Russia have been hit and damaged, and some have been destroyed. The first strike the Ukrainians executed was in July of 2022 in Rostov province, an oil refinery in Novoshakhtinsk. For about 2 years, strikes were one-time events, but in recent months, strikes have become massive and regular. In the recent weeks, strikes have intensified. Every single week they grow in numbers. We are seeing a new Ukrainian strategy emerging: disruption of Russia's military-industrial complex. And today I will share with you why I think the Ukrainians have a pretty good chance of winning in this war of military support disruption. Howdy, friends. My name is Konstantin, and welcome to Inside Russia, where usual Russia is explained by the unusual Russian. As usual, you will not find any propaganda, BS, or lies here. Instead, you will find plenty of truth, common sense, and logic, and some emotions too, because hey, I'm a human being after all. Now, on the day Russia invaded Ukraine over 3 years ago, I realized that Russia found itself in a war. In a pretty terrible war. Not only I realized, I started sharing my observations and thoughts right here at Inside Russia. But I was a tiny minority. Most Russians around me thought that the invasion was just a short military operation, in and out type of thing, and none could imagine having some kind of inconvenience because of this SVO, as they call it in Russia, the special military operation. It sure wasn't going to affect them in any way. That was the idea in the first days of the war. I remember when I was discussing the war in public, in the very few first days of the war, and I was speaking emotionally and pretty loudly about the Ukrainians striking back. Striking back at Russia, was gonna happen sooner or later, I was saying to a person I was having a conversation with. And I thought that Ukrainians would be striking at Rostov, a large transportation hub and a military center near Ukrainian border. And I remember looking at the faces of people around me when I hang up and I just looked around. They were looking at me as if I were crazy. Striking Rostov, Ukrainians? With their weak army, with a lack of equipment, attacking us, the second strongest army in the world? Boy, are you insane or what? I still remember the looks on their faces. Fast forwarding 5 months, 2 Ukrainian drones hit an oil refinery in Rostov province, some 40 miles from the place where I lived at the time. That was a big boom. First ever attack on Russian territory, on Russian industrial facilities. It was an absolute shock. Shock to everybody in Russia. And I remember how Russian propaganda, all TV channels, internet media, newspapers, they didn't have special protocols on how to broadcast an event of an attack on a factory. And they started broadcasting the truth, the real attack footage, showing how it happened, telling the witness accounts and all of that. And the following day, they shut up and erased all the mentions of the attack. The protocol of how to deal with attacks on Russian soil was born right then in July of 2022. And it's been polished to near perfection in 3 years. Now they all know what to do, how to broadcast, what to say, how to blame Ukrainians, how to conceal the truth, and all of that. Oh. The Russian propaganda is good, and by the way, I'm going to do a daily snippet on Russian propaganda, and I'm going to upload it right after this live stream. Now, then, as a shock, came the attacks of a large city, Belgorod, in May of 2023. Then there was a series of attacks on Russia's capital, Moscow. This is actually a drone missed my apartment that I owned in Moscow by about 50 yards and blew up an apartment right next door. This window was literally 50 meters from the place where I lived. And as 25th floor, and we lived on the 24th floor, a little to the left. I actually can see a few former neighbors in this video. You can see a compilation of videos that people were just filming at 5 in the morning. Yeah, right then. You see how they're standing and they're in shock. They can't believe what they're seeing. Saying, what's going on? That's an attack on Russia, on Moscow. Even the firefighters, everyone's confused and shocked. And this is a very good example of how people were feeling back then. It's just, it can't happen. It's not the war in Russia. It's a special military operation, some place far away that we don't care about, that doesn't concern us. And all of a sudden, big bada boom, and it starts concerning us. That was back in 2023. That summer, the Kremlin was blown up twice by 2 drones, and then the attacks on Moscow became regular. In Moscow and in central and southern Russia, especially southern Russia, industrial facilities became targets of Ukrainian drones. Let's fast forward to now, summer of 2025. Belgorod gets bombarded daily. Kursk was under occupation of Ukrainian armed forces for almost 8 months. Town of Shebekina, right next to Belgorod, looks more like a war zone now than a peaceful town. Most oil refineries and oil storage facilities in southern Russia have been attacked at least once, and many have been attacked multiple times at some point of time. Moscow has been attacked dozens and dozens of times, and currently it's a target of daily attacks. Moscow airports get closed every single day, and 2 large international airlines are in the process of making decision to move all their flights from Moscow to St. Petersburg because of the danger that exists in Moscow. Ukrainian drones have attacked the facilities even in the eastern part of Russia. And I'm talking about the industrial facilities now, that somehow are connected with the military-industrial complex. I'm not talking about the military facilities. We all know what happened a week ago when a good part of Russian nuclear triad was just wiped out by the Ukrainian drones, the Operation Spiderweb. Okay, so I'm talking about just industrial facilities. Recently, the attacks have intensified. They've become massive and regular, daily attacks. It's shaping up as the new stage of the war. The front lines aren't moving much. Both sides are exhausted in manpower and, not just advancing, neither Russians nor Ukrainians. Russians are making attempts. They cost dearly in manpower. Russians don't care, but Still, they're not moving forward much. And now the Ukrainians are trying to use a different approach. They're trying to disturb and exhaust Russia's military-industrial complex. Look what they have just done in the recent days and recent weeks. Well, basically, most of the footage I'm going to show you right now is from last night and the night before. Oops. This is the result of the attack on the oil storage facility in Kstova, near the city, large Russian city, 1 million people city, Nizhny Novgorod. This is what happened in Smolensk last night. Smoke is coming from one of the industrial facilities there. I don't have the details at this point. And this is Pushkina, near Moscow. This is one big fire. A large warehouse is on fire. And I think we'll understand why. This fire is absolutely massive. And this is Engels, one of the factories there. Take a good look. This is just people like driving by or passing by that they're filming on their mobile phones. This is Bryansk. This is what happened last night in Bryansk. And that's another picture up close. And this is Kazan. The same place at a different angle. Closer. This is Cheboksary, two factories, Vniip and ABS Electra. And the biggest attack in just a recent couple days on Novomoskovsky Azot. That's a big one. One of Russia's largest nitrogen plants, producing also producing artillery charges and some components for artillery charges. If you drive from Moscow to Rostov on the major highway called M4, Don, you can see this plant. It's ginormous. Okay, you can see it right from the highway. Used to be our client back about 15 years ago. We did some work supplying them with electric technical equipment. You know, people, I turned the sound off because people swear a lot. See many Telegram channels reprinted this, they remade this video with their own labels. And this is a bystander. Says, I don't know how about you, but our plant is burning. And Novomoskovsky Azot is one of plants. In Russia, it's called city forming plant or town forming. It's basically entire small city or large town is built around, well, it's a city, Novomoskovsky. It's built around the plant, the providing for the plant, serving the plant, and so forth. what I showed you is just fires, okay? I also have the attacks, videos of the attacks, how drones actually fly and smash and blow up. I do not post videos like that on YouTube. Instead, I post them on Telegram. If you would like to see those, go sign up. Well, just check them out. You don't have to sign up, but go to my Telegram channel. I usually put videos that YouTube bans and censors. Telegram is censorship free. And I also do announcements. So check it out. So there are plenty of attacks of drones. Pretty graphic stuff, you know. So I'm showing it to you so you understand the scale of what's happening in Russia right now. And the implications, well, you know what? Let me take a little pause. This is called mid-roll. Usually big YouTubers put sponsored messages here. And I would like to thank my sponsor. I'm not sponsored by anyone, so instead my mid-roll is I take a sip of this wonderful English breakfast tea. I'm not sponsored by any company. I just love English breakfast tea. I drink it all the time. It's just Twinings. This particular tea is Twinings Extra Strong English breakfast tea. It's fantastic. And I would like to take this opportunity and thank you. You who's watching this video right now. Thank you everyone who is a part of Inside Russia community. Thank you for watching, for interacting, for liking, for commenting, for the messages, for comments that you write me, for the prayers, for your love, for everything. Thank you for buying me coffees at buymeacoffee.com, for Patreon, PayPal. It's pretty scary, you know, because I'm demonetized and I'm not making any money on YouTube. But so much of support from you shows that you value my work highly, and knowing that inspires me. So I want you to know that. And you have my word, my promise that demonetized or monetized or whatever, you know, I continue my stand against unfairness, against the war, against totalitarianism, and I continue telling you the truth. You have my word on that. Thank you. Now, let's get back to the message. Thank you. The implications of the war. What's happening now? A few points I'd like to make. First of all, the war has finally come to Russia, and it's here or there to stay. You know, I wish I could see the faces of those in Rostov who were looking at me as if I were crazy in early March of 2022. I really wish I could see them. What do they think now? Is everything okay? I mean, in Rostov, things are not okay. Drone and missile danger sirens all the time. Loss of internet every night. That's how they try to fight drone attacks or drones and missiles that fly over Rostov. They shut off internet for everyone, mobile, Wi-Fi, everything. Tons of shootings every night because air defense system tried to shoot down the missiles. Bombings, couple drones smashed into apartment blocks. I really would like to see their faces and say, well, you know, you still believe that Russia is going to be intact. You still believe that you will not have this inconvenience of being away from, you know, a special military operation. I really would like to see that. Anyway, definitely the war has come to Russian soil and it's there to stay. Russian propaganda is trying to blame the Ukrainians, obviously, and I must say they're doing pretty darn good job at that. They're brainwashing Russians more and more. And my daily snippet is going to be about that. I'm going to post it on Patreon, my thoughts of how Russian propaganda is doing these days. And I'm going to give you examples in this snippet. War is being normalized. And Russians are being sold this idea that war is there to stay for a very long time. And like I had been saying before May 9th, Vladimir Putin is about to switch Russia into military tracks. What do I mean by the military tracks? He'll seize complete control of the economy. There will be no free market economy. There are some islands of it left here and there, but that's going to be changed completely. And there will be a new Iron Curtain over Russia. It is descending fast. Russians won't have any rights, and they won't have opportunity to leave the country. That's what I call the military tracks. The USSR was on military tracks, and Russia is being placed on military tracks very quickly, very, very fast. Now, implication number 2. New nationalization. There are currently 2 problems with enterprises in Russia. First problem is decline in economy. And all the companies which work not with military-industrial complex are having a very hard time right now. In the last few months, economically, things have gotten much, much worse. And a lot of companies are in dire straits. They're nearing bankruptcies. Now, there's another category of companies. Those who work for the military-industrial complex, who are a part of the military-industrial complex, or there's tons of different companies in Russia who are privately held, but they have supply contracts to the military-industrial complex enterprises, to the state basically, to the Ministry of Defense. And more of such companies get nationalized. Basically, the government seizes control of them. And once the government controls these companies, they're not going to be doing well, because the government, as we know it now, Russian government, is very ineffective manager. Russian rulers, the managers of Russia, so to speak, they place their own people who they nominate and who work for them with their own interests as heads of those companies that are nationalized. And the goals usually are not to make a company profitable, not to come up with a new product or continue improving existing product. The goal is to steal as much as possible and move money out of Russia and different countries, Dubai, the USA, France, the UK, and so forth. So most companies that will be nationalized are not going to be doing well. That's the second implication. Third is we are seeing an extreme lack of air defense. It was the talk of the town back in 2022 when the first attacks happened, in 2023 when they were kind of intensifying, but they were not at this level as they are today. And a lot of talk about how come we don't have air defense system in Russia. I mean, on paper, it's probably one of the best in the world. It's a Russian Iron Dome, just like this one in Israel, one in America. But that's on paper. And I remember in 2023, when the first attacks happened, they actually started putting this mobile air defense systems based on large trucks on top of buildings, like the Ministry of Defense. I think it still has this large truck standing there with missiles, near Kremlin, near Putin's palaces, and not too many of those. And the biggest problem is they're local. So they basically locally protect the area of, a few kilometers, square kilometers. There is not one large dome over Russia that protects from all incoming air targets, missiles, planes, and so forth. Why? Money's been stolen. And now in 2025, they don't even talk about that. Because it's a fact. Russia does not have air defense system. It has islands of, protection. And that's about it. This famous air defense systems C-300 and C-400, they were so much highly publicized before the war when no one was even thinking about being in the war. Only a crazy man would think in Russia about 10 years ago that Russia would be in the war. So, and then it was like the pride of Russia. They were talking about it all the time. Oh, our mighty powerful weapons, C-300, C-400. Turns out they have a few dozens of those. And that's it. Not too many. And they're not very effective against Western missiles. So, the masks are off. We understand that Russian state is not about protection of people. It's not about protection of, the country. It's about protecting the rulers. That's pretty much it. And number 4, the implication is the emergence of this new strategy that Ukrainians started using. I'll say it the second time, but that's a very good phrase. The masks are off. Now we all understand that the war will be long and Putin doesn't need peace. Moreover, peace is dangerous for Putin. Imagine Putin riding a bicycle. He keeps on pressing the pedals, keeps on going, and then he's in stable position. As soon as he stops, the bicycle, along with Putin, will fall down. This stopping the bicycle is peace. He doesn't need it. He doesn't want it. He will be pushing the peace away for as much as he can. Therefore, some Russians, I understand that, certainly. The Ukrainians understand that. The Americans understand that. Donald Trump himself will said, talking to the foreign leaders, the European leaders, said, unfortunately, Putin, doesn't want peace. He thinks he's winning. And he should have listened to me. I was talking about that a long time ago. Okay, but, it's a joke, sorry. Everyone understands it's going to be a long, long war. And the strategy is to exhaust the military-industrial complex, to exhaust the economy, to make Russian economy decline even more, to make everything slower, more expensive, to make the factories less efficient, so to increase the downtime of industrial facilities that somehow contribute to the war. And we're seeing Ukrainians doing that more and more. That strikes are intensifying. Ukraine is certainly winning the drone war, and I think that they will continue striking military and industrial targets with drones more and more. Will this strategy work? I think it will most definitely work. It will be exhausting the resources. And it turns out that Russia, a very rich country in resources, but unfortunately or fortunately, I don't know, it has very ineffective system of governance. Therefore, very ineffective system of economy. State economy simply doesn't work, and Russia is becoming more and more of a state economy. Okay, so Ukrainian strategy of blowing up industrial facilities will certainly work. There will be so many more news like that every single day. I suggest you give a chance to Patreon of Inside Russia because of two things. First, every day I carefully select and post 9 news of Russia and from Russia that I find important, that tell everyone what's going on in Russia, really what's going on. The kind of news you won't find anywhere in the mainstream media. 9 news a day, 6 days a week, 54 news every single week. And daily snippets, more than a news, less than a live stream. My take on something that I find most important on a certain date, that not as big as the live stream. So if you want to stay on top of things Russia, consider becoming Patreon of Inside Russia Patreon account. Now you know where to find the latest and the greatest news of what's going on. Thank you. I want you to mark my words about the strategy of the Ukrainians will be working. Let's review at the end of the year, along with my forecasts that I usually make in the first days of any year, and I review and I discuss them at the end of the year. And this is one of the things I also want to make notice and review at the end of the year. The Ukrainian strategy of exhausting Russia's resources and crippling the military-industrial complex. Thank you so much for giving me a chance to deliver this message today. I invite everyone to join me in the live stream chat. I'm turning it on right now. It's my most favorite part of any live stream because, when I press this button, the chat explodes with real people, real questions, real emotions, real comments, and this is fantastic. Love it. Let me just open it for myself. Let me know what you think of my today's message. Let me know what you think of Ukraine's new strategy. While I am reloading the page to see all the messages, I would like to thank the moderators of Inside Russia: Lorna, Mami K, Bob S, Harry Portman, Amir Fazad. Thank you, friends, for just being fantastic friends and the best moderators in the universe, on YouTube and on the internet. Thank you. Inside Russia is the best community online, and that is with support and help of the mods. Thank you very much for coming every day and making sure this place is clean, respectful, insult-free. Thank you. Just a couple of rules. Be nice to each other. Do not insult anyone. Insults are not tolerated. Trolls are not tolerated. And please, no discussions of US politics. Donald Trump, Elon Musk, the politicians, Joe Biden, not here. Not now. Not the place. Okay, there are other places for that. Not on Inside Russia. So we discuss what's happening inside Russia and around Russia. So thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. If you want me to notice your message easier, please put it in all caps and put Inside Russia after @ sign. So I See it highlighted in large orange box. I see Bob, Lorna, howdy friends, thank you for coming. And usual suspects, thank you. Werner, it's really hard for me to just. I think in Deutsch it's going to be Werner, but that's definitely not the right pronunciation in English. How much of Russia's military-industrial complex are left over from the Soviet Union? Can the losses, hardware, human resources be replaced? Doubted. And you doubted right, correctly, because Russia had lots of military industrial complex leftovers in 2022. But from what I hear and from what I understand, most of the leftovers have been used up. I mean, for goodness sake, they're buying old Soviet missiles that were delivered to North Korea in Soviet Union time. Now Russians are buying it back. Okay, so that just tells us how dire situation in Russian military-industrial complex is. They cannot produce fast enough. In the future, I don't know. They probably are getting better and better every year. And then that's why Ukrainians are trying to cripple that ability to produce more and more. Leitmotiv from Maryland, howdy. Koshkin Dom, howdy. Bob S, thank you. Friends, I'm reading the messages that are all in all caps and highlighted in orange. Keith, all the way from Hawaii. Faith Russert from Spain. Chris Fox. Thank you, Sheerleaf. Lilith Eden. Hey, I ran into your account on Facebook and I saw your profile picture. And it's nice to see a face of a person who is behind a nickname, you know. So it's good to meet you virtually. G Coffee 613 as usual from Tarpon Springs, Florida. Seems like you're right on the nose. Thank you so much. But I want you to mark my words, and I'm marking it certainly, and then we'll review what I said today in the last days of December. 29th, 30th of December, something like that. Yassine from Algeria, North Africa, howdy. Thank you for coming. Fantastic to see you. It's not the first time you're coming. Michael Silberg, one of the very active members of Patreon, active patrons. Thank you, Michael. Thank you so much. Thank you for good words. Michelle De Los Santos, hello, good to see you. Ace Fram from Missouri. Kirksville, very American name, Kirksville. Who? Elaine Patton, thank you so much. Jodes. Mel Nell, you always promise to keep going. I promise you, I will always support you on Patreon. You know what? Thank you so much, friend. Thank you. You know, it's pretty scary being demonetized. It was scary at first. When I got demonetized back in August, my heart literally dropped. My blood pressure shot up. Boom. I still remember that moment. It's like, what do I do now? You know, and I received so many coffees. You know, people bought me so many coffees, and membership on Patreon just went up. And Thank you. I really appreciate that. I've been trying to give back as much as I can and more. And, I came up with this idea of the news, daily news. Actually, it was something because I wasn't feeling well about just being supported on Patreon. And I figured, hey, I got to do something back, give something back to people. And I came up with this idea of the news. Oля picked it up and we started doing it. We did it once in a while from what I remember, but then we started doing it like every day. And then daily snippets. And another way to say thank you is every Saturday I host private live stream for patrons only. Used to be for sponsors of Inside Russia on YouTube channel, YouTube sponsors and patrons. Now it's only patrons and members of My Me Coffee because I have some supporters there as well. There's a possibility to buy me coffee, and then also some people become monthly members. So I want to tell you that it was very scary, but now I'm so grateful and I'm so not confident, but it's not as scary anymore. Having so much support from you. So thank you so much. Carol Lynn from League City, Texas. Sending my love to Texas. Heard everything is bigger and better in Texas. Yelena Arrington. It won't be long till God stops all wars. I hope he will soon. Terry, good to see you. Thank you so much. I see a couple messages from PayPal from Eric D'Amico. Thank you so much. And let me look. Peter Leisner, thank you. And Roger Taylor, I appreciate. Thank you so much. Thank you, friends. Christian Kruse, please explain the Gerasimov doctrine and what Vladislav Surkov did in Russia. In light of what's happening in LA. Well, that's kind of very, you put me on the spot. I don't think that Gerasimov doctrine exists, to be honest with you. I think it's a myth. Russian army is not acting according to one doctrine. That's it. It has different centers of command. Despite Gerasimov is still the chief of general staff, Vladislav Surkov helped build the vertical of power. Helped to build the vertical of power. He's one of the architects of modern day, Putin's regime. So you asking me to explain what he did in Russia? Well, that's what he did. He created the propaganda. He created the ideology. In light of what's happening in LA, I mean, I don't really see any connection to what's happened in LA between Russian army doctrine or actions and what Vladislav Surkov did in Russia. By the way, you might want to find it interesting. I am currently recording a video about Vladislav Surkov. I did a video on Gleb Pavlovsky, also one of the architects. Basically, what I have in mind is a series about the architects of Putin's Russia. Because Putin didn't build it by himself, right? He had pretty darn good help from different people. And not too many. They are his inner, or they were his inner circle at some point. And I call them the architects of the vertical of power and architects of Putin's Russia, Putin's regime. So my first was on Gleb Pavlovsky. I remember there were problems with sound, and I would like to redo it as a video. And the second one is about Surkov. Okay, the third one will be about Dugin. So I will, in 2 weeks, will be trying to get Oля her student visa renewed, and I won't be streaming for a few days, but I will post videos instead, and by that time I will have them recorded. Friends, there are quite a few questions, and I see the highlighted in orange. Look, if I don't answer all of your questions, please don't take it personal. It's not like I ignore. It's not because I ignore you. It's just there are so many of them. Okay. The X Dyson. How about monetizing through starting Apple, Spotify, podcast? You know what? I couldn't have said better myself. I'm thinking of doing it right now. I'm actually mapping a new strategy for inside Russia. Well, not really a strategy, but I'm thinking for how to expand to reach new audience, and that's one of the ways. So most likely it's gonna come to Spotify. Koshkin Dom, always great to see you. Um, Just Terry, are you going to take some time off to rest, please? You know, Terry, I have been. If you noticed, Saturday I only did a live stream for sponsors, for patrons, and Sunday I didn't do anything. So I had pretty good time to rest, you know. So Sundays really making difference. Not doing anything on Sundays, and I'll tell you a little secret. I don't do anything at all. I just try to watch movies, play with Michael, uh, um, just kicking back, okay, and that's very therapeutic. So thanks, friend, for caring for me. A leitmotif: does the military industrial complex use Western parts? Yes, it does. Yes, it does. It still procures Western parts, the semiconductor chips, some motors. It's becoming more and more difficult. They're still doing it. Um, that's my short answer. Unfortunately, they're still doing it. Ho ho, good to see you. You heard the news that Urban 108 degrees. You heard the news that Urban turned 108 degrees. He talks about Russia being too weak, can't handle Ukraine. Well, now, I have a few monitors right here, right now. I wish I could show you. And then one of them right here is with the news. It's like a news feed. And right before the live stream, literally a few minutes before, I saw the news came that Orban said that Europe shouldn't worry about Russia attacking Europe because Russian army is weak and it doesn't even have um, capacity, military capacity to overtake Ukraine. So Europe shouldn't be worried. I think this is true at this point, but the problem is if Putin continues to be the ruler of Russia and Russian people allow him to do that, if he puts Russia on the military track, he will find resources to build more factories, to build more tanks, to build more hardware, to mobilize more people, to brainwash them into becoming soldiers. So in 5-6 years, Russia actually might get stronger, much stronger. Right now, it certainly does not have the capacity. What do I think about Viktor Orban? To be honest with you, um, um, that's crazy. Okay, Viktor Orban's always been like Putin's ally and friend. I personally think they have some documents on Orban and they've been blackmailing him. Okay, and now whether I don't know whether he's turned onto Russia, judging from this news, but if he does, that's going to be quite amazing. I will definitely cover this. Please keep on tuning in. And Whitney, is there a sense in Russia that things aren't going well? And this is exactly of what I was talking about in one of my snippets last week. No, there is no sense in Russia that things are going well. Even in Moscow. Even Moscow swimming in money. There are so many rich people. That's where the concentration of Russian wealth is. It's still full of money, but people are concerned. They know that things are not well. Okay. Other cities, other towns, villages, people are not doing well. They know they've been lied to. They know they've been taken advantage of. It's becoming a more and more widespread notion. Love to hear what you think about the events in California right now. Pat McCartney, look, I know that there are protests in California against ICE. I know that Donald Trump has called for the National Guard. I know that the governor Newsom he just announced that he's suing Donald Trump for interfering with sovereignty of California. I don't know. I don't know much about the legislation. Okay, I don't know whether Donald Trump had power to call National Guard. I don't know whether California has a power to be sovereign. I have no clue. And to be honest with you, I don't want to discuss it here. It's not the topic of this discussion. Okay, if I were qualified and this channel were called Inside America, then we'd probably be talking about that. Elena, thank you for the message. I've seen it already. I hope the war will be stopped. Michael Silberg, what do you think will happen inside Russia if the momentum of the war clearly shifts in Ukraine's favor? Not much. Not much. In the worst scenario, military scenario, Ukrainians will push Russians towards, at the border, toward the territory, inside the territory of Russia. And then Putin and his propaganda will be selling a different message, to this different narrative to Russian people. Oh, you know what? Ukrainian army got such a boost from the West, from Europe, and the evil West, and the entire world against Russia. Of course, we're weaker than the world, but we'll show them, we'll rebuild, we'll strike back, and things like that. So, if you're asking about people, I don't think they will rise. I don't think there will be a revolution. I don't believe in Russian people rising. Even in 1995, it wasn't the people who made the revolution. It was the power clans inside Politburo, okay? And people just jumped on the bandwagon. Ron Gravel, what do you think that the equipment that Russia is buying back will prove to be effective or sabotaged? I'm not sure what you're talking about. Russia's not buying any equipment back. You mean from North Korea? They bought tons of shells, and they were blowing up inside cannons because they were so old, back from the 80s and perhaps 70s. And I have a feeling that the USSR unloaded old supplies that they had already been old in 1980s, okay, to the North Korea. And now Russians, I heard about a year and a half ago, lots of Russians were complaining that the ammo was old and not usable and so forth, So, and I think whatever they bought, it's been used up already. Does Russia still think it's winning? Matthew, Putin does. Not only he thinks so, he's sure, and he's proclaimed his victory. He even told it to Donald Trump while they were talking the last time. He said he was winning, and Donald Trump, told everyone Putin is crazy for thinking he's winning. Okay, but I believe that Putin thinks he's winning and Russia is winning. Pals Ilimar from Estonia, thank you so much for coming. Every time I have Estonian, Latvian, Lithuanian, Polish, Czech at this channel at the live stream, it warms my heart. Thank you so much. Terry, are you still treating your issue? I am. I had the last IV today. Feeling more energetic than on Saturday, as I cut the live stream short for patrons short after like 40 minutes because I was just collapsing, medicated. So I'm feeling better, more energy, but I'm still being treated, yes. Sticker Fairy from Alaska, howdy, good to see you. Thane of Tranmere, Gregor, howdy, good to see you. Janice Burgess, fantastic to see you. Andrew from South Africa. Bogdan Test Software. Your kids in the US are safe until a new visa renewal. 1 year or more, right? Well, I have currently 3 kids in the USA. 2 of them are US citizens, born and raised in Maine. So I think they're safe for good, hopefully. Unless the US administration goes until after them because their dad is not US citizen. That might happen in the future, but they're born and raised in Maine. They don't speak Russian. They're as American as apple pie. And then Oля, her visa is, yes, it needs to be renewed very soon. So keeping our fingers crossed. I don't know what else to tell you, but we are freaking out here. It's very scary for me, for Ola, for everyone. Because even my kids in Maine, they're mad because there's not much they can do to help Ola. Well, Crazy, good Nabend. Gloria from Ireland, good to see you. Vladimir Savov from Bulgaria, howdy, howdy, howdy. I remember how on 22 the Ukrainian anti-corruption agency published an official letter to Shoigu to thank him for the corruption in the Russian army. It wasn't just Shoigu. It was corruption. It's always been, you see, everyone in Russia wants to be rich, wants good life. And how do you get good life if you have no opportunity to earn honestly? You steal. And the state kind of, rewards you for that, saying, look, if you do certain things, we will close our eyes on you stealing here and there. Just don't steal much, but that's okay. That's how things work. And that had been going on way before Shoigu. But Shoigu, he took his fair he had his fair share in building the corruption scheme inside Russian army. I actually have a personal story. I was offered to supply something to Russian army back in 2017, 2018, something like that. And I met with certain people who knew, my people I knew, they had certain people they knew. Okay, so we met at the cafe and they told me of a scheme. And when I learned, I was like, you gotta be kidding me. That's stealing like that. It's stealing. They're like, well, don't worry about it. Because no one's gonna go after us and definitely not after you and all of that, So I said, you know what, folks, thank you so much. I think I'll pass on that. Lots of money. They were talking about lots of money, but I don't want to give many details, but that's just it was direct theft, basically. Okay, it was so illegal. It was stinking illegality. Okay. Could you please talk about Vladislav Surkov and Gerasimov doctrine may be current in LA? Christian, well, I will talk of Surkov in a video. Within a couple of weeks, I will release it. Yes. Gerasimov doctrine. I don't have any links of what's going on in LA right now. By the way, folks, if you haven't liked this video, I'm asking you to like it. And of course, if you liked it. So if you liked it, please hit the like button. Really appreciate it. It helps to deliver my message to more people, higher amount of people. So thank you. Jane, excellent report. So much Russian propaganda on YouTube. You know, Jane, it's a very good point you made. Yes, there is so much propaganda, and it's becoming more and more. And look, folks, I urge you to go and sign up to become patrons of Inside Russia. Okay, not because I'm just money thirsty guy sitting here. Okay, it's not much money. That at any tier you have access to everything. Okay, there's not much of a difference between tiers. And the lowest tier is like $3 a month, okay? But I talk about things, including about Russian propaganda, and this is what I'm going to be talking literally in 10 minutes once I'm finished with this live stream. Russian propaganda is becoming scary, okay? And I'm thinking my strategy of developing Inside Russia channel, and it was... Until now, my mission's been to document what's going on, to tell you the truth of what's going on, to show you the transformation Russia is going through. Okay, but now I feel like I am running under this huge, massive wave of Russian propaganda, and I'm changing my mission. Okay, I'm standing up against. I'm telling you the truth. Because there's so much of propaganda on YouTube now, and people in the West are actually buying it. I don't understand how, but they're buying it. So I'm gonna be talking just about that. So friends, check it out on Patreon. A daily snippet coming up in, I don't know, like 15-20 minutes. All right, I'm watching time. 2 more minutes and we'll finish this live stream. Michael Mayo, good to see you. Long time no see. Any thoughts on whether we can expect to see another spike in global fertilizer price if the attacks on nitrogen facilities continue? Will this affect Russian agriculture? From what you know what? Actually, it actually might, because I think that Novomoskovsky Azot belongs to Fosagro Group, if I'm not mistaken. Hang on, let me just double check. And if it's Fosagro is Russia's largest, one of the world's largest fertilizer manufacturers. I've been to Novomoskovsky and I've been to Belorechensky plants. Azot. I'm not sure how this attack will influence the fertilizer prices, because Ukrainians were targeting that part that was providing for, what's his name? Providing for artillery charges, okay? Новомосковская. not seeing much about part of Fosagro. But anyway, I think that's going to have some kind of impact. I just don't know the extent of this impact. Michael, I will keep my eyes open, okay? Wars will stop with God's hands. Elena, I hope so. Charles, is it true about the demonstration going on in Russia from Quebec, Canada? No, there's no demonstration going on in Russia. Sending my love to Quebec. I used to live in Old Orchard Beach. We had so many tourists every summer from Quebec. No, nothing major. I haven't heard of any demonstration. And right now it's night in Russia. There's certainly no demonstrations at night. Christian, you predicted that the war will terminate this year. Do you still think that? I was wrong. I did think that the peace was coming. I thought that basically Donald Trump came and changed everything. Okay, I think that if Donald Trump weren't the president, the war would stop because Russia would be exhausted. What was going on before Trump? The sanctions were being tightened and tightened and tightened. And it got to the point where things were looking pretty bad. If you remember from my live streams, I was saying that the sanctions in 2024, in the second part, finally started working. And then on one side, Russia was using all available resources. And on the second part, from the different part, the sanctions were more and more tight. Okay, and then Donald Trump came and sanctions simply stopped. There are no more sanctions right now, and I'm not sure how. America is concentrating on within itself now. Okay, Dorsch, I think there were people fired who were in charge of sanctions, maintaining, tightening, monitoring, and so forth. And basically, Donald Trump handed Putin what he was looking for a long time, victory. Donald Trump started talking to Vladimir Putin, started appeasing him, okay? And that's it, voila. That gave the war a new impulse. So I was wrong on the prediction, but I didn't know that Donald Trump would happen, basically. Christian, thank you. I've seen your question for the third time. I will definitely talk more on Surkov. It's good observation. He's quite the guy, Jill, the air quality in Tashkent is almost as bad as in Toronto. Big forest fires of the West. Are you wearing a mask outdoors? No, the air quality in Tashkent is fine. In the winters, it's bad because a nearby power plant uses heating oil to fire the turbines. It's burning heating oil for operations, and it's supposed to burn natural gas. And there are no filtration systems. But in the summer, they're not producing heat. So therefore, the air quality is it's okay, really. Paul Wright. Some chiburiki. Thank you, Paul. Couple questions. Alex Blake from Philadelphia. Thank you so much for coming. Philadelphia is definitely in my heart. That's where my daughter studies. Mel Nell, I don't understand why YouTube demonetized you when other podcasters from Russia are not. I have a pretty good idea. YouTube doesn't like me. It doesn't like my stand on Russia, and other YouTubers are tricking YouTube. I was offered a couple schemes to trick it. I like to do things straight. I don't like to do shady schemes. It's either I'm monetized or I'm not. And other YouTubers who probably that I know for sure, some of them are using that they register their YouTube channels for other people, basically. That's And that's no with YouTube. If they find out, then that's going to be a big bust. Okay. So thank you so much, friends. I am wrapping up this live stream. Please, after this live stream, in about 10-15 minutes, come and check. There will be a new snippet about Russian propaganda. It's going to be a sad one, but honest. I always give you the truth, how I see the information. I never sugarcoat or darken, vice versa. And this is how I'm feeling today. Exactly that I will tell you. So thank you. Please, everyone, join me in prayer. It's my prayers list. Dear Lord Jesus Christ, thank you so much for the day you've given us. Thank you for the food you've placed on our tables and the roofs you've given over our heads. Thank you for the loved ones, for our families, for our children. Please give us wisdom to keep the skies above our children's heads peaceful and safe. Please give us wisdom to raise our children so they become good people who will never fight in any wars and just make this world a better, peaceful place. For now, please keep our children safe and healthy. Dear Lord, I am asking you to stop the bloodshed. Reach out and touch the hearts and souls of those who are responsible and are capable to make the decision to stop. Please, fill their hearts with love, remind them that they're still human beings. So they wake up from their lethargic sleep and make the decision to stop the bloodshed. Please help every single Ukrainian who's been affected by this terrible tragedy, answer their prayers, make their wishes come true. Please help my country, Russia. Assemble your strongest angels with sharpest swords. Have Saint Michael lead this army and send it down to earth to get rid of demons who we know by their names and by their faces, who have hijacked my country. Please have Saint Michael and the shining heavenly army come down and send them where they belong, to hell. Dear Lord, I'm asking you to send angels to help good Russian people to run the country, to make it peaceful, loving, and respecting, and normal. Please help everyone who is traveling, all the travelers, send them safe travels. Help everyone who is in danger of any kind, send safety. Help single mothers and fathers who are struggling, trying to make ends meet, raising their children. Please send help their way, and help those who are seeking for asylum of any kind. Please help those who are helping Ukrainians, and please help Ukrainians who are currently under attacks of Russian weapons. Dear Lord, I'm asking you to help the sick, the cold, the addicted, the hungry, the jobless, the homeless, the ones who are losing their faith, the ones who are betrayed, the ones who are crying, the ones who are depressed, the ones who are not feeling well about themselves and about their lives, the ones who are lost, the ones who feel there is no one around them who loves them, the ones who are going through divorce, the ones who don't see their children as much as they want to. I am asking for all the people in need. Please reach out and touch their hearts so they feel that you are right next to them. You haven't abandoned them. You are still with them, loving them, and watching them make every step. Please help everyone in need. Help everyone who just learned about an illness, confused and scared. Reach out and touch their hearts and souls and let them know that you're with them no matter what. Send strength to everyone who is struggling with illnesses, and send strength to them and their families. Dear Lord, thank you so much for us, allowing us to assemble here, come together and pray. Thank you for everyone who is praying along with me or simply watching us pray. There are 4,200 people right now. Please make, hear, and answer the prayer of every single person who is praying or watching us pray, and make their dream come true. Answer the prayer and make their dream come true. Thank you so very much, dear Lord. I have a few people I'm asking for. They need your help. They are Greg. Please send recovery, send good health, and his family. Send strength to both Greg and his family. Greg needs to go home and be with his loved ones. Just shine your light above Greg and the family. Please help Lee and Brenda, Uli Yun, Daniela Fromm and her family, Rose Halbert Bronicky, Janice, Teresa Ron Bazoid, Ann Larson and Hannah, Jeffrey S. and his family, Katharina Holm, Mark Rutan, Tom W., J.R. McKim, Gabin with Gary, Lisa Kumrian, Harry, Terry, John, Linda, Paula W., Dennis, Jason, Susie, Tim, Dory, Rhonda, John, Taylor, Wayne, Darla, George, Ruberty, Pamela, Meta, Spencer, David Porter, and everyone in Ukraine, in Chernovtsi, Ukraine, and his family, Leif, Randolph, Grace, Dean Spooner and his church, Yelena, Natasha, Michael, Jake, Oля, Dasha, Sky, Svetlana, Sergey, Liz, Ron, Liz, Koshkindom, Sandra, Mike and Mike, Petra Olson, Joseph, Melissa, Jodes, Millie, Philip, Eileen, Highwayman, Paula, Denise Abbott, Derek Martinez, and Jeff Gibson. Dear Lord, I am also asking for people in California who are in trouble, who are protesting, who are hurt, or scared, confused. Please bring peace and make everyone get along. Thank you, dear Lord Jesus Christ. Amen. Thank you, friends. I would like to remind you that you're absolutely awesome and you rock. And I would like to invite you to come back tomorrow. I'll have another message for you. Thank you. It's my honor to host you here. And before I sign off, as usual, I would like to invite you to say the following as loud as you can, as loud as along with me, as loud as you can. Carthago delenda est.